Hi, I'm Gemma Stafford, and today on Bigger Bolder Baking, we are making sourdough English muffins. Look at those. So for this recipe, you're going to need a sourdough starter. This is Bready Vedder. After 2 years, he is still alive and kicking. There were some near-death experiences, I will admit. There was a period where I didn't feed him for like 6 months. However, he's back, he's looking great, he's healthy, and we're going to use him today in these muffins. It smells great. Now, if you haven't made a sourdough starter before, I've got a really easy video that you can follow. It's easy to make it, it's easy to feed it, and to maintain it. Now, here we go. We're gonna measure out our active starter. This is an active starter. I fed him a few hours ago to get him ready for this recipe. So I started this sourdough starter the beginning of lockdown. I think I started it in January 2020, before the whole world started making sourdough. So that's how long he's been going. And let me tell you, he makes a really good loaf of bread. Into that, I'm gonna add in some warm milk. I'm gonna whisk it in there. You want it just warmed enough that when you put your finger in there, it's slightly warm. You don't want it hot. And then into this, because yeast needs sugar to live and to thrive, a little bit of honey in there. There we go, just give that a mix. And next we're going to add in our bread flour. Bread flour for this recipe because it has so much texture and you have all those lovely nooks and crannies. To get that, you need strength in your flour. So strong flour, bread flour, because it has more protein and it is stronger. If you only have all-purpose flour, that's okay, but the bread flour gives you like a chewier bite, and it also just holds those bubbles and the nooks and crannies so much better. So it's up to you. Just mix it together with a spatula. Now, as you can see, this is very wet. It's supposed to be, because as it ferments, it'll get firmer and drier. Okay, now like I mentioned, this dough gets fermented. So when you want to make these English muffins, start them the day before, even the night before, and then you mix up your dough just like this. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to cover it with a shower cap or cling wrap. We are going to let it sit at room temperature for a minimum of 12 hours, up to 16 hours. During this time, flavor will develop. Those nooks and crannies will develop. They'll make for a really lovely sourdough bread. We just want to leave it, do its thing, and then we're going to come back to it. So here's one I prepared yesterday, just so it would be ready in time for you guys to see what it's supposed to look like when it is fermented. Now check out that lovely dough. It's big, it's boozy, it's bubbly. It smells like fermented, it smells like beer. This is exactly what it's supposed to smell like. That is a good smell. So before I turn it out, I'm just gonna show you in the recipe, we have some baking soda, also known as bicarbonate of soda, and some salt. What you want to do is just mix those two together. And then what we're going to do is sprinkle them over the surface of the dough. So once you sprinkle it on top, we're just going to kind of fold those into our dough. We add them in later so they react later. Just give them a good mix in. Once that's kind of folded in, we're going to flour our work surface, turn out that lovely dough, and now we are going to fold our dough. So just kind of go from the outside into the middle and fold it over. We're gonna do this until our dough gets nice and tight and forms a ball. Just do this for around 3 to 4 minutes, 5 minutes or so. Keep your surface nice and floured. This helps to create strength, it creates structure in your English muffins, and it gives your flour enough strength to be able to hold those bubbles when the gases are produced during proofing. So all of these things are totally necessary and just make your English muffins so much better. When you feel the dough in your hands getting firmer, less tacky, and just holding a better shape, that means you've done enough folds and you're good to stop here. Now here's what we're gonna do. I have a nice tea towel here. I'm going to cover this up and let it relax for around 20 minutes or so. I'm gonna let the gluten relax. We're gonna come back and roll it in a little bit, but we just want to let this hang out for right now. So our bread has been resting. It's puffed up a little bit. I'm just gonna do a little bit more flour on my surface. What we want to do now is just roll this dough out. Look at that. That's why I love working with bread dough. Just look how beautiful that is. Anyway, roll it out to around a 1/2 inch thick. So here I have my tray with my parchment paper, and I have a little bit of semolina. Now, for those of you who've had English muffins before, you know that lovely kind of crisp crunch layer they have? That's semolina. And what they do is they sprinkle it on their tray like this for their bread to proof on. And then it just makes its way into the dough. Semolina is ground durum flour, it's high protein. I love to use this for pasta making, and I also use it when making pizzas because it's a really great way to kind of cause friction because they're tiny little balls between the surface and your tray or whatever it is to glide your pizza without using extra flour. So, you know, get familiar with semolina, it's such a lovely ingredient to work with. Here I have a 3-inch cutter, and I'm going to cut my English muffin and place it on my prepared tray. Cut them as close together as possible so we don't waste any of this dough. So a fun fact about English muffins, they actually kind of came to be around the 1800s, and they were sold door to door in England. And you know that lovely, there's a nursery rhyme, do you know the Muffin Man? That's where it comes from, because there was a muffin man who used to go door to door, which I just think is so charming and lovely and very British. Okay, so there you go. On my tray, I have around 11, you'll get around 11 to 12 English muffins, something like that. We are going to cover it again with our tea towel. So we're going to set these aside to proof at room temperature for around 45 minutes, roughly. I'm going to show you what they look like when they're proofed and ready to be cooked. So it's been 45 minutes. These look great. Now come here to me. I want to show you what you're looking for to know when they're proofed. They kind of round out a little bit. Do you see that? Like those harsh edges have kind of softened. They've got a little bit matte on top, like they're a little bit drier underneath your finger. They've puffed up. And when you push them down, they don't like as readily spring back. So this means they're proofed. So I'm going to stop talking. Let's head over to the stovetop and get them cooked off. So it's cooking time. Here I have a lovely big non-stick frying pan. Now, if you can, I'd say use a non-stick frying pan. It makes life so much easier. You can use cast iron either. Either of those will work really well to give you the best results. Now I have the heat on to like a medium low, like definitely on the lower side. I'm just letting this heat up really well. So it's nice and hot now before I put on any English muffins. So I'm just going to place a few on the pan at a time. So you don't want to overcrowd your pan. Now here's the secret when cooking English muffins, a lid. We're going to place that on and we're going to let these very gently cook for around, like, it varies, like around 4 minutes, 5 minutes on this side. And what happens with the lid on is that they start to steam. So it's not a dry heat like the oven is. They start to steam on the pan here. They rise, they grow, they get lovely and soft. There's moisture introduced. The oven is going to give you a dry heat. It's going to give you a drier roll, and they're not as soft. And that's the beauty of these little English muffins, is they're soft and bubbly and lovely. So the pan is the only guy you need. So I'm just going to let these sit here, steam away, and then we're going to flip them over when they're nice and brown. So it's been around 4 to 5 minutes and these are ready to flip. I'm going to take off that lid and very gently with a nice thin spatula or something like that, flip them over. Look at that. Gorgeous. Oh my gosh, they're so fluffy. Beautiful. Now, no lid on, leave them now. Same again, 3 to 4 minutes on this side, then we'll move them on and then cook the rest of them. Our first batch are done. They are looking amazing. I'm going to set them over there to cool down and then just continue cooking off the rest of them. These are all cooked off, so let's get them plated. These are so soft and fluffy with lots of beautiful nooks and crannies to soak up all the lovely butter and jam. Once you try these, you'll never go back to store-bought. I really hope you enjoyed this video, but the fun does not have to stop here. Stick around, because I've got tons more bread videos for you to check out, just as easy and delicious as this one.